What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. Here for another episode of the Casual Fan Podcast. This is the hardest working, most accurate, most entertaining NHL sports gambling podcast on YouTube. My name is Pat Stuthers, your host and commentator. And in this video, we're going to break down everything that just happened over the last 2 days and get right into predictions for the next couple of days. If you're watching this video right now, thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone who's following along and subscribing and commenting and telling their friends. You guys are the real ones. Really appreciate it. And to the rest of you, just go ahead and subscribe. It costs you nothing. We're doing giveaways every month of $5, so it's like you can't afford to not subscribe at this point. So let's take a look at the results over the past couple of days. It wasn't the greatest, but I did have a great weekend, so I kind of expected to fall back down to earth. That's just kind of how it goes. I posted a 6-8 record over Monday and Tuesday. Overall, I'm at 181 and 138. That's 319 NHL picks, and I'm hitting at 57%. The Calgary Flames, the Winnipeg Jets, and the Colorado Avalanche. And if that doesn't hit, I'm gonna be very upset. This one should hit. The fact that I'm even doing a gambling show for hockey, it's just ridiculous. Let's get to a total. So the things that I said would happen, that happened exactly the way I said they would. The Carolina Hurricanes, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Islanders. On Tuesday, I told you that the Lightning and the Jets would win, and that parlay hit, so you doubled your money. It wasn't the greatest stretch of games, but I did cover my bases enough to keep going again tonight. 116 days straight, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let's talk about some of the most electric moments. What were the things that happened that made you say, wow, hockey's great? Number one, William Nylander, backhand Ched. Absolute beauty. I'm tired of anyone talking about Nylander. Never criticize him. Every time Nylander does something like that, I put 1 penny in the don't trade Nylander jar. Next electric moment, Matthew Perreault for the Jets scored a goal where the puck just sort of trickled along the ice and all 5 Canucks just kind of watched it, and then Perreault just kept skating and then took it in and scored. It was great. It was like watching an NHL 21 glitch where the players just stopped moving. The controller died. Next electric moment, Braden Point, Andrew Cogliano, fisticuffs right in front of the camera. It happened in the corner where the television broadcast camera was, and you could literally see them face to face. I think we need to introduce drones for the fights in hockey. Next electric moment, the Montreal Canadiens, Alexander Romanov lays a monster hip check on Brandstrom of the Sens. Great hit. You don't see a ton of hits like that. It reminded me of the PK Subban hit on Brad Marchand, but not nearly as effective or satisfying. So what were some of the most devastating moments? So on Monday, the Anaheim Ducks almost made a miraculous comeback against the St. Louis Blues. They did not, but it would have made me look like a genius. And I would have gloated. Believe you me, I would have gloated. The Minnesota Wild came really close. They had a 4-2 lead after the second period against the Vegas Golden Knights, but there's a reason the Golden Knights are always favorites. They just roll over teams. They have 4 lines that just keep up constant pressure. And as good as the Wild are, the Knights came back and won. Next devastating moment, the Avalanche. Come on, like Grubauer hasn't played in a while, but how do you lose to the Sharks 6-2? That's so unexpected. And I did tell you the stat right before about how the Avalanche have a terrible record in San Jose. They're like 4-28. I don't know how that happens. But they're gonna face them again tonight. So what do we learn? What can we harness from those past couple of days that we can use to make predictions to win all of our money for tonight and the next day? Number one, Andrei Vasilevskiy is currently on a 10-period shutout streak, 199 minutes without allowing a goal. Talking about Vezina candidates, right now it's a 2-headed race between Marc-Andre Fleury and Andrei Vasilevskiy. Next thing we learned, we have to reassess the division standings. It's impossible to power rank these teams from top to bottom. You have to do it in groupings. All that matters is where the dash is between the teams. So in the North Division, you have the Leafs, you have the Jets and the Oilers, and then you have the Habs, the Flames, the Sens, and the Canucks. In the Central Division, you have the Lightning, you have the Hurricanes, the Panthers, and the Hawks, and then you have the Jackets, the Preds, the Wings, and the Stars. In the East Division, you have the Capitals, Bruins, Islanders, Flyers, and Penguins. You have the Rangers and the Devils, and then you have the Sabres. And finally in the West Division, it's the Vegas Golden Knights, the Blues, the Wild, the Avalanche, the Kings, and the Coyotes, and then the Sharks and the Ducks. So if you move these slashes between the teams, that grouping should be able to beat the grouping below. But this is subject to change on like a nightly basis. The NHL is just crazy. All right, so with all that information, let's leave the past behind and move towards the future. These are my predictions for Wednesday and Thursday night, beginning with the Washington Capitals as plus 125 underdogs at the Boston Bruins, minus 150 favorites. Caps are 8-1 the last 9 meetings in Boston. They're 36-15 in their last 51 meetings. They're 4-1 in their last 5 overall. Bruins are 5-1 in their last 6 home games. They're 4-0 in their last 4 against a team with a winning record. And the home team is 4-1 in the last 5 meetings. I would stay away from this game. If I had to lean, probably take the Bruins. Next game, Toronto Maple Leafs against the Edmonton Oilers. In this one, they're dead even, minus 110 odds. The reason for this is that the Maple Leafs just had back-to-back shutouts against the Edmonton Oilers, and they're probably gonna get lackadaisical in this game and drop it. The Oilers are going to come out guns a-blazing because they don't want to lose 3 straight, and they haven't scored in 3 games. What are the odds that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are held off the board in 3 straight? Very slim. However, Toronto Maple Leafs seem to be a step above everyone else in this division, and it's always risky to bet against them. Oilers won 5 straight before facing the Leafs. They're 7-2 in their last 9 on one day's rest, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 after allowing 3 or more goals. Like I said, I still like the Leafs, but I'm going to stay away. Next game, St. Louis Blues as -150 favorites against the Anaheim Ducks as +130 underdogs. Blues are 5-0 in the last 5 meetings. They're 7-0 in the last 7 in Anaheim. The favorite is 38-16 in the last 54 meetings, and the road team is 11-1 in the last 12. The Ducks are a feisty team, but as I mentioned in the rankings, the Blues are in that next group up and they should be able to beat them. Next game, Arizona Coyotes, slight underdogs, -105 at the Los Angeles Kings, -115 favorites. The road team's 4-0 in the last 4 meetings. The Coyotes are 7-3 in the last 10 in LA, but they're also 1-9 in their last 10 following a loss of 3 or more. The Coyotes are also 7-21 in their last 28 road games. Kings are 6-2 in their last 8 overall, and they're 4-0 in their last 4 Wednesday games. However, this is the stat that's changing my mind on this game. The Kings are 0-5 in their last 5 home games, following a road trip of 7 days or more. Next game, huge game, rematch between the Minnesota Wild as +135 underdogs against the Vegas Golden Knights +155 favorites. The underdog is 5-2 in the last 7 meetings. The Wild are 4-0 in their last 4 Wednesday games. They're 6-1 in their last 7 overall. However, the Knights are so good, they're 7-1 in their last 8 against a team with a winning percentage above .600. They're also 6-2 in their last 8 as a favorite. The Knights are the gatekeeper of this division. You have to get through them. This game, a heavy favorite in the Colorado Avalanche at -240 in a rematch against the San Jose Sharks, +200 underdogs. The Sharks won the last game 6-2, completely unexpected. The Avs are 9-1 in their last 10 following a loss of 3 or more. 9-2 in their last 11 after scoring 2 or fewer in the previous game. They're 20-8 in their last 28 against a team with a losing record, and they're 20-9 in their last 29 road games. However, the Avalanche are 4-24 in their last 28 meetings in San Jose. How is that possible? How have they lost 24 games to the San Jose Sharks? That does not make sense. Granted, the Avalanche were terrible a couple of years ago and the Sharks are pretty good, but that still doesn't make sense. That aside, Colorado's 4-1 in the last 5 meetings, and the favorite is 41-14 in the last 55 games. All right, now that we have all of those locks for Wednesday, let's move to our Thursday games. Up first, you got the Rangers and the Devils. They're both -110. Absolute stay away game. Listen to some of these stats. Rangers are 2-5 in their last 7. They're 2-8 following a win, 2-6 when their opponent scores 2 or fewer in the previous game. Devils are 0-7 in their last 7 home games, and 1-6 in their last 7 overall. Both these teams stink. Stay away. Next game, we got the Detroit Red Wings, +215 underdogs against the Carolina Hurricanes, -275 favorites. The Wings are somehow 8-2 in the last 10 meetings in Carolina. The road team's also 6-2 in the last 8 meetings, but the Wings are 1-5 in the last 6 meetings between these teams, and the Canes are 14-6 in their last 20 overall. The Canes are a much better team on paper. Those home stats don't look great against the Red Wings, but I think they should win. Next game, Winnipeg Jets, +133 underdogs against the Montreal Canadiens, -162 favorites. Jets are 4-0 in a 3-4 situation. They're 4-0 when the opponent scores 2 or less in the previous game. They're 5-0 in their last 5 Thursday games. They're 5-1 in their last 6 overall. And the underdog is 5-1 in the last 6 meetings between these teams. The road team is also 7-3 in the last 10. However, the Jets are 5-12-1 in the last 18 games in Montreal. I like the value on the Jets in this one. I'll probably put my money on them if I had to pick. Next game, the Philadelphia Flyers, -120 favorites against the Pittsburgh Penguins, +102 underdogs. In the last game, Crosby was out, so I thought that the Flyers would win. But Pittsburgh has shown a number of times that when Crosby is out, Malkin steps up and they tend to somehow play better almost. Home team is 6-0 in the last 6 meetings. Underdog is 4-1 in the last 5. But the Flyers are 6-1 in the last 7 when their opponent scores 5 or more in the previous game. And they're 14-3 after allowing 5 or more in the previous game. They're also 13-3 in their last 6 after a loss of 3 or more goals. I think the Flyers will bounce back in this one. Next game, Buffalo Sabres, +157 underdogs against the New York Islanders, -195 favorites. Sabres are 0-4 in their last 4 overall. They're 0-6 in the last 6 meetings between these teams. Islanders are 5-1 in their last 6 overall. I'm going to take the Islanders in this game. Next game, Tampa Bay Lightning, -195 favorites against the Chicago Blackhawks, +155 underdogs. Lightning are 10-1 in their last 11 meetings. They're 4-0 in their last 4 in Chicago. Favorite is 21-8 in their last 29 meetings. And everything the Hawks can do, basically the Lightning can do better. They're just, on paper, pound for pound, a much better team. It will be interesting to see if Kane and the Hawks can score on Vasilevsky after 10 straight periods without a goal. Next game, Florida Panthers, Nashville Predators, dead even odds. I don't know why that is. I think the Panthers should be favorite. Panthers are 5-0 after scoring 2 or fewer goals in the previous game. They're 5-1 in their last 6 road games, 5-2 in the last 7 meetings, 4-1 in the last 5 in Nashville. And the Preds are 0-4 against teams with a winning percentage above .600. This should be a Panthers win, but they're shaky sometimes. Next game, Columbus Blue Jackets, +135 underdogs against the Dallas Stars, -165 favorites. favorites. Jackets are 3-13 in the last 16 meetings, 7-1 in the last 8 in Dallas, but they're 0-4 in their last 4 road games, and the Stars are 0-5 in their last 5 home games. I'd stay away. Both these teams stink right now as well. Next game, Ottawa plus 150 underdogs against the Calgary Flames, minus 186 favorites. Apparently I have no clue about either of these teams, so I'm gonna stay away. It could be a blowout for either team, or it could be very close. But it's impossible to predict, it seems, at this point. Sens are 5-2 in their last 7 on 1 day's rest, but they're 0-6 in a 3-4 situation. They're also 1-6 in a 4-6 situation. The home team is 5-1 in the last 6, and the Sens are 3-13 in the last 13 in Calgary. Realistically, Calgary should win, but who knows? And the very last game of Thursday night, another great Canadian matchup between the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are just rolling right now, at minus 162 favorites against the Vancouver Canucks, plus 133 underdogs. Now this matchup has some very interesting stats. The Leafs are 5-0 in their last 5, which is good, but they're 2-10 in their last 12 in Vancouver. That's bad. The favorite is 20-7 in the last 27 meetings, which is good, but the home team is 21-7 in the last 28 meetings, which is bad. The Leafs are 4-0 in a 3-4 situation. That's good, but they're 5-12 in a 4-6 situation, which is bad. But the Canucks are 1-5 in their last 6 overall. And realistically, the Leafs are the best team in this division, and the Canucks might be the worst team. The Leafs should win this one, and they should probably win by 1.5. But I would stay away for all those home Vancouver numbers. I don't think the value is worth it on the Canucks to bet on them either. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get to my official picks for Wednesday and Thursday night, who I think is going to win, who I think is going to lose, or if you should stay away. Beginning with Wednesday night, I'm going to choose Bruins, but you should stay away. Oilers, but you should stay away. I'm going to take the Blues. I'm going to take the Coyotes, but you should stay away. I'm going to take the Wild because I'm going to double down. I think they're actually going to beat the Knights this time. And I'm going to take the Avalanche because I think they're going to destroy the Sharks in this game. Now on Thursday night, I want Hurricanes, Jets, Flyers, Islanders, Lightning, Panthers, Blue Jackets, Flames, Leafs. That's who I think is going to win. Take the predictions and all the information I gave you before, and then take at these picks and make your own decisions and see who wins. Basically, you just want me to say something so that you can decide whether I'm wrong or right, and that's fine. This is just who I think is going to win. So my official bets, the things I'm going to put money on, when I win, you win. When you lose, I lose. Lately, we've been keeping our head above water, so that's pretty good. But my official bet for tonight, Avalanche, minus 1.5. And that's plus 113 odds. I hate the 13 in that. That's just bad luck, but I'm going to take the Avalanche minus 1.5. I'm also going to take the Minnesota Wild as underdogs, and I would put equal units on those two bets. Avalanche minus 1.5 at plus 113, I would put 1 unit, and then I would put my other unit on the Minnesota Wild as plus 123 underdogs. Now Thursday night, I'm gonna put my unit on the Jets at plus 133 underdogs, and the Tampa Bay Lightning can have my unit as well. Minus 1.5, I think they should win that one by multiple goals. So that's it, that's what I think. That's my midweek predictions, everything that happened earlier this week, everything that's gonna happen later in this week. I will see you guys again on Friday. We are actually gonna have an NBA All-Star Special Edition NBA Casual Fan Podcast coming out. There's gonna be more MLB versions of this podcast coming out, and we're gonna keep expanding. So thank you everyone who is watching and subscribing and liking and commenting and following along. I'll see you guys at the top. Let's keep making money, let's keep winning, and tell your friends, and let's keep growing. We'll see you guys on Friday. Cheers, have a great couple of days.